All right, good morning, everybody. I wanted to record this video to explain some updates that we're going to have to our class. I don't know if any of you have been paying attention, but there have been a lot of emails in the last few days sent from different administrators across the campus discussing the increased concern about coronavirus. And I think that it's time to go ahead and make some changes to our class for the foreseeable future. So, um, I want to preface that by saying that if anybody is concerned that I'm doing this because I'm showing symptoms of coronavirus, I'm actually not showing any symptoms whatsoever, other than a cough. But coronavirus requires more than just a cough. But ultimately, this is sort of out of an abundance of caution. And really, what hit me the other day was I'm a big sports fan. Any of you that have paid attention at all in class would obviously know that at this point. But what really hit me the other night was the very, very quick and swift action from the NBA. I am, you know, as I said, I'm a big sports fan, and I have really been watching all the momentum that the NBA has essentially initiated whenever they suspend their season the foreseeable future. Really, Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, said at least 30 days the night or last night, and the reason for that is it's easy to sort of assume that it's very reactionary and very um, they're putting too much to this whole coronavirus thing, that it's overstated. But really, I want to highlight a few things, and this is what really hit me when I was thinking about this was the game that I guess really made it more obvious to the NBA that they needed to go ahead and suspend the season was the Jazz, the Utah Jazz, and the Toronto Raptors. And so I have a bunch of stars here for a reason, and one of those is Salt Lake City, which for those of you that are geographically limited, there's Salt Lake City right there, and here's Toronto up here. Toronto's outside of Buffalo, just on the other side of Buffalo, New York, on the other side of the map there. And so Utah Jazz were in Toronto, and two players, Rudy Gobert and I forget the other player, they have tested positive for coronavirus, and now these two players contracted this disease, and they could have contracted it within the last 2 weeks. Symptoms usually show up between 2 to 14 days after contraction, and so essentially, what really hit me was when you go back in time, if you just look at the month of March, you see that the Utah Jazz, who Rudy Gobert plays for, and the other player, they played in New York, Detroit, Boston, I believe they played in Boston, and they played somewhere else. They played 4 games. Maybe oh yeah, those are the 4 games. And so since that time that respective team played the Jazz, those teams have also played the Hawks, the Pacers, the Wizards, the 76ers, and the Thunder from Oklahoma City. So in a matter of, today is the 13th, 14th, in a matter of 2 weeks, really, less than 2 weeks, really, there have been all these different major metropolitan areas hit with some potential threat for coronavirus. And that is not even including all the fans that drive in to see these teams, all the sportscasters that fly in, drive in to help commentate on the games, all the people that travel in to help support the NBA enterprise. right? And so because of that, NBA had suspended their season, MLB has suspended their season, NFL is probably going to cancel their draft, their big draft in Vegas. So there's all these different things that are taking place. So I think at this point, the responsible thing for us to do, I mean, obviously none of you are going to be traveling as much as what I'm showing here on the screen, but we have a class of 40 students who, theoretically, even if all 40 of you only came from 10 different locations, 10 different towns across the 4 states region, next week we'd have class, and then the next week after that you'd be going on spring break. And so these 40 students would go to 10 different towns, and if you contracted coronavirus on campus next week, you would take that virus with you home. And that means that there's now 10 different towns that the possibility is of, coronavirus being contracted. You have brought that virus to that town now. And assume that you do any traveling whatsoever over the next few weeks for spring break. You go to Florida, you go to Texas, you go to Kansas City, you go to Oklahoma City, wherever you might go, you are bringing that with you, okay? And so the contagion effect can be pretty significant. So I want to do what I can to sort of encourage social distancing as much as possible. I have expressed some, a little bit of disregard in the past about this about coronavirus, but I will say that overall it is better to be safe than sorry. I will say that since the last time we've met, my dad is he has a presumptive case of COVID-19. My sister-in-law is concerned that she has it. My dad lives near Austin. My sister-in-law lives in California, and my dad is a case that is a sort of a perfect example of how one instance with an individual can really damage, can really infect a lot of different people. He works for Dell, who is based out of Round Rock, Texas. So he drives into Round Rock, Texas, and could have potentially contracted it there. So anyway, so with all that said, for the foreseeable future, we will not be having class on campus. Okay, so all of our classes will be online. There is a significant amount of expectation from a lot of different people that I talked to that the university was already planning on making this move to some extent, whether it would be after you all get back from spring break or whatever it might be. But at this point, I think it's best to just go ahead and make the move ourselves and make a few changes. So once there is sort of word that it is safe to resume daily lives and resume daily functioning, we'll go ahead and meet back at in our normally scheduled class from 12 to 12:50. But until that happens, we're going to essentially move the class online. And so what you're going to see now, instead of coming to class on Mondays, I want you to check Canvas. There will be a video posted in Canvas that you will watch. There will obviously be a whole lot less back and forth between me and you, unfortunately. But there will be a video for you to watch, and then in that video, I will discuss some discussion question. Okay, so the video should usually be about 40 to 45 minutes long, and then in that video there will be a discussion question, and you have to pay attention to the video because you need to get a discussion question, and then you'll go into a Canvas-based discussion group, and I want 2 postings from you, and then I want each posting to be at least 4 sentences long. And if you post, so I want you to post your initial response to my question, and then I want you to respond at least one time to one of your peers. Okay, and I want both of those to be 4 sentences long. And the grading will be very simple. If you post once, you don't post a second time, you'll get half credit. And so the way that I do it with most classes is you'll get 20. You'll be required to do it, and you'll get 20 points per time. Not 20 points extra credit, but 20 points of sort of participation credit for posting online. It is a very simple thing to do. You go online. You have a week, so I'm going to open that up on Monday. You have until the next Sunday to do your discussion post. So you have plenty of time to do it. And then once you have done it, you've posted twice, you get the 20 points. Easy peasy, right? So there should be no issues with that. If you only post once, you get 10 points. If you post twice, but one of your posts is 2 sentences long, that gets 10 points as well, because I require 4 sentences in your post. And this is how I do all my online classes, so it has worked just fine for all my other online classes. The one difference between those classes and this class is the debate. So we are at a point in the semester where several of you have already gone, several of you I've already debated, so it would be difficult to cancel the debate for the rest of the individuals. Okay, so if you have a debate today on, Friday the 13th, it's March Friday the 13th, that'll be postponed until next week. And so what I want you to do, if you have a debate today or a debate next week, or really just if you have not done your debate yet, what you need to go and do is you need to go and sign up for Zoom, Zoom. You can get a free subscription. It is an online video conferencing program. And what we're going to do is we are going to schedule a time to meet online. So theoretically, today we'd have 5 debaters and me. The 6 of us would log on to Zoom, and you would present your debate to me. Okay, so what I think would be in your best interest. So, for example, I know Joey, Ray, and Brittany are in the sort of pro, or null marijuana group. I think it'd be in your best interest to talk amongst yourselves, make an appointment to practice this Zoom thing, figure out how comfortable you are with it, and then probably next Wednesday, we are going to, so the 5 of us are going to schedule a time from 12 to 12:50. Since we already have class that time, I'm canceling class, so you should have now a free block of time on Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 12 to 12:50. So at 12 o'clock, the 5 of us, or the 6 of us, will log in, and you will present your debate to me, and I will record the video. So I can do that through Zoom. I will record the video. I will host the conference, and I will record the video. And I will post that video online for anybody that is interested in watching it. Okay, so you will not necessarily have a live audience to witness your debate, which might make some of you feel way more calm about the whole assignment. But some of you might feel a little more anxious because Zoom conferencing is different. Okay, so you will have to sort of get a little more used to that. Okay, so essentially that I believe is it. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out. I am not the biggest fan of online classes. This was not a move that I wanted to make. If I'm being perfectly honest, I was going to be very content to have class next week and really move about our daily lives with no big deal. But really, just considering the gravity of all this, and considering the fact that it is easy for me to sort of live in the world of I'm going to be fine, my kids are going to be fine. Young people have mostly been spared of this disease. The older individuals out there, so if you contract this virus and you go visit your grandma, or maybe you have an older dad or whatever it might be, and you pass this on to them, the older individuals with pre-existing health conditions have had a much harder time surviving this illness. And so I think that it is in our best interest to go ahead and just make a little bit of a responsible decision. I am not necessarily quarantining myself because I'm not sick or anything, but I'm just doing my best to encourage social distancing. Okay, so I hope everybody's okay. I hope everybody understands why this is happening. And again, if you have any questions or concerns, gripes, complaints, please feel free to reach out. Otherwise, you will not have class today on March 13th. You will not have class next week. I hope you all enjoy your spring break. And look out for a video on Monday that you'll need to watch. All right? Have a good weekend. I hope it is restful for everybody. Okay?